Welcome to Rettle's Pub, where we talk about the spirits while partaking of spirits. Last time on Rettle's Pub.
So my thought process is that, here's what I do know. I may be completely wrong with my thought process. I'm good with it.
I'm good with that, yeah.
But I'm going to still believe what I'm going to believe.
Yes.
And here's why. I have never in my entire life, in this incarnation, been generally so relaxed about my past, so relaxed about the future,
yes,
and so relaxed about my present, because it allows me to step back, make the decisions I think I need to make, and sometimes I make the wrong one.
Yep.
Even though I'm trying to be this ascended character, this play, this mask that I put on to be some kind of religious thing. But then I still fuck shit up.
Here are your hosts, Nate and Mason.
Correct. And the difference is now when I fuck shit up, I pissed a good friend of mine off here a few months back, and rightfully so. And this friend of mine, we still haven't gotten back to where we were before. And so I look at that and I realize as soon as it happened, it's almost like I was able to step back from behind. I don't know if you've ever played first-person shooters, but there's some of them have the option to play third-person, where you're playing above.
And you see the figure, you see the avatar.
Yeah, but it still acts like a first person, but you're watching it from third person. It's almost like as soon as I did that, within hours, I had been able to step back and say, I did what I did. I apologized for it as openly and as profusely as I could, and as honestly as I could. Their response to that is on them, and I was able to step back and watch the drama.
Yeah.
Watch the play happen, and see. Okay, so what am I going to learn?
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that you can just relax into what your incarnation is doing. Celeste said something to me the other day that Ram Dass said. I don't know that I've ever heard him say it, so I'm thinking it's Ram Dass. But he says there are times where we need to honor our incarnation. And so the context of that was actually it was his book. Actually.
It's Ram Dass.
Yeah, it was his book, Paths to God or something like that. And he's talking about the Gita, the
Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, that.
That's a really good book.
That's from I don't know if you know, but that is a segment of the bigger book.
Cool.
And the bigger book is about Krishna, and this is just one sliver of that book. And I can't remember the name of it either, but he takes that down and he talks about how in that book, in the sliver, he's talking about the one character who doesn't want to go fight his family because he wants to honor them, because that's their background, or that's the way they were raised. But it was his destiny to do that, and he needed to honor his incarnation. And so there's a point where I think about that, and
because the people that you're killing. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I get to thinking about that. I think I know where you're about to head with that interruption there, and we can go back to that. Yeah, he's over there praying.
I'm sorry.
He wasn't praying; he was apologizing. Anyway, so the whole point with that is that the character did want to do that which was not the highest step, but it was his incarnation's purpose to do that. And I think I ended up moving to something else, and I didn't finish the rest of that book yet. So it's honoring your incarnation, which is, there's a part of me that I'm looking at, like some of the politics these days, and the way I'm starting to feel myself lean in certain ways and process things in a political version. And one of the first things I always do is step back and look at my current spiritual journey and try to determine how does that fit in my current spirituality.
Yeah.
And I'm going through that question, and Ram Dass, right when I needed to hear something, talks about honoring your incarnation to be that which you're supposed to be in this incarnation. And so then I realized, well, my steps are ordered. Mm-hmm. Right. So you can't get away from that shit.
You can't.
I don't know that you can get away from doing what your incarnation is going to do.
Because Krishna told, I can't remember his name now. Krishna told the young warrior, he said, the young warrior was like, I don't want to kill them, because if I go into battle with them, I'll have to kill them. And then Krishna made the statement, he says, well, that's not them. You're killing the spacesuit, but you're not killing you're not killing your uncle. You're killing the spacesuit around your uncle, and your uncle is still going to live. Your uncle is still alive,
and that's really not your uncle.
That's not your uncle. So when you put it in reference to the present, all that's happening and all the, let's just say, there's hate. I don't know why I'm thinking that. There's hate for an individual, or a hate for a political person, or a dislike for a political person. You're hating the avatar, but you're hating the avatar, but the soul inside the avatar is not what you're hating. You're hating the plan that's in front of you. But that plan is there for you to learn a lesson. So that, I guess, that chess piece is what you're triggered by, not the player that's moving the chess piece. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Am I making sense, or am I totally losing it?
No. Which kind of, there's further questions. I think we can move to the next set of that. So Celeste goes on to say, the Bible makes the distinction several times between the soul and the spirit. Is the spirit of our, quote, human spirit the fleshly part of us that has inherited DNA which defines our very characteristics? Let me read that again. Is the spirit considered, I'm going to rephrase it a little bit. Is the spirit considered our human spirit, quote unquote human spirit? The fleshly part of us that has inherited DNA which defines our characteristics. Can this human spirit make choices not in alignment with the soul's plan? And in parentheses, she says, in church speak, this would have been considered, quote, out of the will of God, unquote.
Okay. That's I'm getting a flood of because I'm dealing with some stuff right now in my own Christian community.
Well, here, I'll go. You want to?
You go ahead. Let me see if I can
So the way I would say this is that the difference between the soul and the spirit. So I would say that the soul is what we believe is that entity that exists outside of our body. Mm-hmm. It's the infinite soul. It's that which never dies. Which most people who are religious can believe that, who they can go abide by that. And in my thought process, most people who believe in Christianity at least can abide by that, or can agree with this understanding that your soul is eternal, right? Mm-hmm. In Christianity, it's the soul that would go to hell or heaven. So the human spirit, in my mind, would be the ego.
What would be the ego?
The human spirit.
Yes.
Which, yes, is you have specific mutations which make you have ADHD, as do I. Mm-hmm. Certain things. That is the DNA. That is the ego. To me, that's what I see that as. So the soul is the eternal us. The eternal me, the watcher of the watcher.
Yes.
The soul is the watcher of the watcher. And the watcher itself is the human spirit. It's that ego that tries to control everything, tries to attach to everything, tries to respond to trauma in a certain way.
The human spirit.
It's the human spirit.
Yes.
The ego.
Yes, I agree with that.
Can the human spirit make choices not in alignment with the soul's plan?
Yes.
So I don't know that it can. because every decision that we make as the human spirit is made out of trauma or attachment or desire or whatever. Where did that come from? Is that not written either in our DNA or because we were handed to a specific set of parents which raised us a certain way, or because we were, treated a certain way?
I'm contradicting myself.
Or is it because we were abused as a child by a third party outside our family, and so therefore all of our decisions and everything that we do and everything that we decide upon is decided upon through trauma or through experience that we've experienced in the past? And if we truly do have a break room at which point we all have a conversation about how we're going to treat each other when we get down here, then is it truly our decision to make those things?
I'm recognizing right now. Today I'm recognizing that I'm operating in old programming. Old programming says that the soul and the human spirit, the soul is what is divine, right? The soul is what's in divine. The soul is what's in the spacesuit. The soul,
according to Christianity, the soul is as corrupt as the human spirit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't need to be saved.
Okay. So in Christianity, this is what I used to teach. I used to teach a tripartite, right? So you have flesh, soul, and spirit, right? So the flesh is the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. That's your flesh, right? And it is constantly trying to. What was the other day I used it? It's constantly trying to pleasure itself in whatever fashion you can say. Yes, I said that. But there was a statement I said. It was like pleasure and empower yourself. And I said it just like that to be that kind of creepy. So the flesh is trying to pleasure itself and empower itself. Then you have the spirit. The spirit is what, in this tripartite, it's the spirit that is the tether between the soul and God, that which exists outside of us, right? So when the spirit is dead, right, because of Adam and Eve, their disobedience severed that tether and the spirit died. So then Jesus comes in John 3, talks about new birth, and that new birth is the resurrection of the spirit, which is the resurrection of that tether between God and man, right? So Paul talks about how the flesh and the spirit wars against itself because the flesh wants to touch itself and empower itself, right? And then the spirit wants to be fully connected to God, and then there the soul is in the middle. In a tug of war is the rope, and they're both the spirit and the flesh. That's where our Christian battle comes from. Our Christian struggle comes from, is because we're trying to save the soul, our own soul, right? Because our flesh wants this, but our spirit wants this, and then whoever wins that tug of war, the soul either goes to heaven or the soul goes to hell, right? So that's that old programming that I come to. But if our soul is in the break room pre-planning, if the soul pre-planned, me and you pre-planned together, and I think that's very obvious because both of us were born in the same home, both of us took two totally different paths, but then both of us came together and we're having this conversation, right? So I believe that was predestined, that was pre-planned. We think that our human spirit, for instance, you and I, our human, in other words, our human spirit said, fuck this, I'm going to go to TBC, and then I'm going to backslide, right? Then I'm going to be an atheist, and then you have a spiritual awakening, and then I go and I become a licensed minister in the United Pentecostal Church International. I become a theological teacher, and I'm doing all this. And then I have a spiritual awakening, and then the roads that we took that we thought were polar opposites of each other, within a matter of time are now crossroads and one highway, and we're walking this journey together. So is it outside the will of God? And is the human spirit? No.
So
No, I said all of that. I'm sorry. I took over and I said all that. No, it's all pre-planned.
So here's where I struggle with where you are, and that's just me saying from outside. Where I struggle with where you are is let me rephrase that because it makes me sound like I'm being egotistical.
Nathan is being egotistical.
It's where I'm struggle with how you to understand where you are is that to me the tripartite thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that you can believe in a break room situation and still believe in a tripartite.
Correct.
I don't know that you can believe in a will of God
if you also believe
if you also believe in the break room.
Correct.
I think that the break room concept, which I actually believe in, is destructive to all religions.
It is.
Doesn't mean that I can't look at Paul saying I die daily and not understand that he's talking about the ego,
Yes.
not the human spirit.
Correct.
As we've been raised to believe.
Correct.
I can see where the pre-planning of all this. I think that here's the question: what if this podcast is a purpose of where we've been and where we're going?
Right. Let me say this. Let me interject. This is my struggle, my spiritual awakening of still stripping away the old program. That is one thing you're not going to. He has already drank just a little more than a fourth of a mason jar, bro.
Of moonshine.
Of moonshine. So this, I'm gonna be. I can't say expose myself, right?
Oh God, no! Kill the cameras. Kill the cameras.
Open. I don't know. This is not camera
The
worthy.
Duke does not find humor in this.
That's hilarious. There is no OnlyFans situation going on here. What's the word I'm looking for?
I could have spent my whole life without you saying that.
So I'm just gonna lay it. My struggle with my spiritual awakening. I am extremely grateful in my spiritual awakening, and I am learning so much, and I am seeing so much. Right there, I mean, my wife gets mad at me. Agitating would be a more accurate deal, because I will be sitting with her and I'll be like, that's witchcraft. Right? We'll be in church and I'll be like, that's witchcraft. And she's like, no, it's not. I said, yeah, that's voodoo, right? Or that's New Age spiritualism. That's Hinduism. That's Buddhism. I am so grateful for that knowledge. Number two, I am so grateful for my spiritual practice of sitting in meditation and traveling, right, moving around in between, right, and seeing things, seeing other humans, right. I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for the knowledge of connecting with my higher self in meditation, meeting my spirit guides in my meditations. That's blowing my mind, right? This I'm loving this. But the one thing that I struggle with is I have removed let's just put that my Christianity is like a blanket, right? And I have shrugged off so much of it, right? But for some freaking reason, there's just some things that I just can't that I can't let go. And even I'm holding it, bro, and I'm looking at it going,
got the ugliest piece of
you know, It's like I know I need to let it go. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve my higher self. It doesn't benefit me spiritually. Right? But there's just something that will not allow me yet to let go. And that's why I struggle in our conversations, because I'm like all about spirit guides because I've met them. I'm all about astral travel because I've done it. I'm all about going into my safe space and meet with the haggard woman, right? And sit down with her and talk to her and then learn things spiritually, right? I'm all about that. I'm like, I'll be the first, and you know this, I'll be the first to be like, yeah, let's go and meditate, bro. Yeah, let's do that. Have you been meditating? Have you been journaling? Right? Because I'm all about this. But then at the same time, I'm like, but we need the structure of the church in order to function, right? You know what I'm saying? And even while I'm saying that, I'm like, you are so full of shit right now. Right inside my head, I'm going, you are full of shit. But at the same time, I'm going, but we need the fivefold ministry in order to function, right? So I recognize that there's programming that I'm still holding hands with and I can't let go. And I'm saying that is a journey that I'm still, like, that means that I haven't arrived, right? And it gives me something to work at.
Well, I don't think anybody has arrived.
So is it pre-planned?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say that there will be a day that you're like, finally you've determined that, okay, I've accomplished all that I can accomplish with that. Mm-hmm. And it may be that you're hanging on to that to reach people that you're with.
It could be
in a if I'm using an evangelical kind of
that's not allowed around
verbiage.
Here.
Fuck you.
There is no kumbaya Jesus.
Kumbaya Jesus. But maybe there's people in your community now that look to you, and maybe not that you lead them out of their spirituality, mm-hmm. but maybe that you point to truth.
Yeah.
Maybe as simple as that.
Because I was talking to my wife last night. I was like, okay, do I care? I have an open-ended concept of witchcraft, right? I'm reading Raymond Buckley. I have studied witchcraft. I'm enjoying the knowledge of the witchcraft, right? Of the witchcraft, right? I'm enjoying. I don't care. I don't care what you do. You know, you go manifest a boyfriend all day long. You go manifest wealth. I don't care. Have your crystals. I don't care. But my conflict comes in when I go to a church and their declaration of Christianity. I guess that's why I still hold to the deals, because I still want to be involved in it, I guess, to where if you declare yourself to be spirit-filled, Holy Ghost-filled, you're a Christian going back to the book of Acts, and you're baptized and you speak in tongues, and you know you're selling anointing for seed offering. Don't get up on the pulpit and do witchcraft and then call it a move of God, move of Jesus, right? Don't say that. And I guess that's why I don't really enjoy going to church, but that's why I guess I enjoy going to church, because I sit on the pew and I watch things and I'm like, that's witchcraft. And they have no idea. And then when somebody comes around and is like, hey, that was weird, or they call me and they're like, that just didn't add up. Something was up. Now I'm not going to be like,
yeah, it's witchcraft.
That's witchcraft, because they're not. I don't know where their spiritual height is. I don't know if they're at a spiritual awakening where they can receive that. And I'm not gatekeeping. I don't feel like I'm gatekeeping, but it's just like, yeah, that was kind of odd. I don't know why I went on that tangent, but
and it was because we were talking about your struggle to hang on to the fivefold ministry. You gotta worship those people.
You got to bootlick them, because you got to feed that ego.
Yeah. But okay, so back to Celeste's question. And we've kind of answered this part of it already, but I'm gonna read it because she wrote it. She says, I believe there are two distinct beings at play here during each incarnation, the soul and the human spirit, which we've discussed that now. I guess I'm struggling with the concept that the human has no choice but what an external, eternal entity who has quote unquote possessed it decides. I guess it's funny. I came upon this beliefs, I guess, so fast till I never really struggled with that understanding that I have no control. And I don't know if it's because I was sprinting down this journey to get, because I just, once that happened almost 2 years ago, believe it or not, I mean, I've said it in the past, it takes me forever to make changes.
It does.
It takes me forever.
It does.
I've made more changes in the last 2 years theologically or spiritually, because I don't like to call it theologically.
No. That's a Christian terminology.
Spirituality, that I feel like sometimes I go too fast. In other words, I come across an idea and I'm like, it just makes sense, so I'm just gonna go with it. But I can't prove it. I can talk about it months later, but I'm not used to making a change until I'm completely ready. And it's almost like I'm making the changes so fast because they're the right thing. It's like I'm following my intuition as opposed to my logic.
Yep.
I'm following that little voice that sits on that small still voice that says that's right.
Yep.
Follow that. That's the way to go. And so I do struggle with some things in this next set of questions that she asked. These are the things I too struggle with, and I don't have an answer for them. I'm just going to say straight up before we even get to the question.
Up next on Reddle's Pub.
Well, I'm glad you talked about logic and intuition, because within Zen Buddhism, there's the teaching that there are two types of knowledge. There is logical knowledge, which can be explained by words, numbers, ideas, concepts, not words and numbers, structure. 2 + 2 is 4. 4 + 4 is 8, right? If you mix so much flour, if you mix so much sugar, you mix so much milk, you're going to have a cake, right? And you can logically, step by step, pam, 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 pam. Here it is, right? And then you have intuitive knowledge, which is the knowledge that cannot be explained with words and numbers. Right?
What's the difference between bread and manna?
Bread and manna. It is my knower knows. I don't know how I know this, but I know this is the right way. I can't explain it, but I just know that I know that this is it, right?